Frieza, in my opinion, the definitive villain of the Dragon Ball franchise. With few exceptions, a pompous, irredeemable narcissist who refuses to ever learn from his past failings. Though with his upbringing, his father did very little to promote any mentality other than unquestionable inherent superiority. But what if he was raised by someone who wasn't a complete maniac, and also a person who could help hone his abilities and personality into something heroic? What if Frieza was raised on Earth? A medic on board what would normally be the Frieza Force mothership takes note of a nearby alarm ringing out. This noise signifies the approach of an oncoming spacecraft. He immediately gets on the PA and announces himself as air traffic control, and to receive these incoming soldiers immediately. The pods contain none other than a trio of familiar villains of the franchise. One of the henchmen bowed to greet Vegeta and welcomed the group back, hoping they had a good trip. As per typical Saiyan etiquette, they rudely stomped right past the man, demanding he move away. Knowing how outmatched he is in terms of power, all they can do is tremble his apologies. Though, before they stray too far into the compound, the other officer informs of a situation that may pique their interest. Someone he refers to as His Majesty arrived yesterday. He's currently waiting in Sector 4. The Saiyans can report themselves if they desire. Nappa clacks his fist, excited. Surely a juicy reward is on the way for their swift conquering of Planet Shirts. This couldn't have worked out any better. Not long later, a flabbergasted Raditz stands frozen in shock, arguing but they just arrived. Zooming out, we find the Saiyans bowing in a mysterious presence. The youngest among the warriors contends they deserve at least a few days of rest before leaving to another planet so soon. Getting another look at this ruler, they don't appear to be another member of Frieza's race. And if this story is about Frieza being raised on Earth, who could possibly take his place as the all-powerful tyrant of the universe? Zarbon assures it's nothing personal. The Emperor merely plans to expand his empire beyond its current borders. Though honestly, soldiers like the Saiyan here should limit their objections and not question their ruler. As Raditz attempts to continue his pleas, Midoriya chimes in that he still has a lot to learn from his comrades. The goon even has the audacity to get right in the faces of Nappa and Vegeta, looking down upon them to emphasize his point. He tells Raditz to just look at them. Obedient, submissive, always silent. This is how disposable scum should behave. This abuse forces Nappa to sucker punch Midoriya square in the chin. While everyone else reacts accordingly, this mysterious new emperor doesn't appear to even flinch. Even Vegeta knows what a profound mistake Nappa just committed. But the brute shows no remorse and throws the consequences to the wayside. He wants to know who this pink guy thinks he's talking to. Unfortunately, we know too well the power difference between these two fighters, and this assault has left Midoriya fuming.
You wait, bastard! No! I don't want to die!
However, the henchman's retaliation strike is thwarted by the Emperor, leaving Midoriya maimed and disarmed. Terrified, he pleads to his superior why he's done this.
So many years at your service, and like this.
The Emperor scoffs that it appears those other three incompetents were also engulfed by the explosion. What a waste. But look at what a beautiful landscape has remained in the wake of his blast. Taking a bite of Midoriya's hand and asking Zarbon what he thinks, who fearfully reveals his Emperor to be none other than Lord Kakarot. Of course, at this point the only thing that may have hinted otherwise is he somewhat resembles Turles with the armor, though I'm sure many find this far more suiting. Risking his own skin, Zarbon has to object that what his Emperor just did was a grave mistake. After all, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz were doing well conquering planets. And now that they're dead, it'll greatly slow down the expansion of their empire. Still chewing, Kakarot knows what he means, but warns Zarbon to shut up. He can't shake his impulses to fight, and it makes him lose his mind a lot of the time. Getting a bit wistful even, he asks Zarbon if he wants him to tell him a secret. Naturally, that's what his superior wishes. Looking towards the sky, and just like the Goku we know, Lord Kakarot has been missing a worthy opponent for a long time. He has been the head of an empire full of weaklings for many years. Not even the elite of the elite come close to a fraction of his power. Living without any kind of obstacle goes against his very nature. That is the real reason he has recently intensified the expansion of his empire. He is sure there's a worthy challenge somewhere in the universe. Unknown to Kakarot's empire, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz all find a way to escape. Vegeta growls for his Saiyan comrades to turn off their scouters so they can't be tracked so easily. He believes the best thing for them to do now is to hide out on some remote planet. And so, time passed. On Earth, Yamcha and Krillin trained to test their skills, but the former advises he not get too overconfident. Similar to the exercise we'd see Gohan and Goten do, Yamcha picks up an armful of rocks. He asks if his fellow turtle student is ready, who tells him to throw with all his strength. Krillin fantastically dodges each of the stones one by one. His comrade cheers, "Well done, not bad at all." When our bald hero fails to heed the initial advice, he boasts he can even do push-ups while dodging. In fact, he bets he looks really cool. And so we have yet another scene of celebrating too soon. As Krillin is rocked in the face, his friend rushes over to make sure he's okay. He didn't mean to hurt him and he's sorry. Though Krillin mostly stews in his own stupidity for a moment. Not so much hurt, just becoming a little more self-aware. Yamcha shouts he's a fool! He told him not to get overconfident. By trying to act cool, he made himself look like an idiot, and girls don't like idiots. This prompts Krillin to joke if Yamcha learned that from experience. But something else has gotten the former bandit's attention. Frieza! But completely in Kame student gi. He leaps down from the cliff as his allies happily greet him. They announce it's been a long time and want to know how he's been. It's so nice to see him. They question what brings him here and if he's come to train with them for a while. But that's not quite the case. Actually, he needs to talk to them both about something very serious. Off-screen, their smiles fade to inquire what's wrong with their friend. Rolling his eyes, he decides to get straight to the point. Outside Kame House, Roshi angrily asks if Frieza is reading manga again. How long has he not been training? But the Arcosian Frost Demon Frieza's race thing assures he doesn't need it. Now more concerned and confused, the old-timer beckons what he means. Frieza tells it doesn't matter what he does. His power keeps growing every day. That's why training makes no sense to him now. Kame-sen argues the downfall of seeing things that way is that he will only achieve what he sets at his own limit. He should remember that the real challenge is... Interrupting, Frieza stands and flips his book behind his shoulder, then finishing his master's phrase. The real challenge is surpassing oneself. He knows. He simply lacks motivation, that's all. If only he had a worthy rival. In other words, though Roshi is the one interrupting this time to plead he not say it, begging not again. But if someday he himself gets bored of this world, who will be there to stop himself from destroying it? Although already proving much different than the Frieza we're accustomed to, clearly this version still harbors much malevolence within him. The pair take a moment of silence. After all, there isn't much to say after a statement like that. Frieza then apologizes to the downtrodden Roshi, then informs he's going to meditate for a while. Back with the others, he explains although Grandpa Roshi, which is amazing to imagine Frieza saying by the way, has worked very hard all these years to keep these dark thoughts out of his mind, they always return. And the fact is, he's getting tired of fighting them. Krillin pipes for Frieza to not say such things. They will all find a solution together. Both he and Yamcha fully support him. That's what friends are for, right? Though the demon stares back at him in a stoic silence, appearing to grow numb to the affections of this planet. On the lookout, Kame stands observing the situation. Popo takes note he's been standing there all day. Something must be bothering him. He approaches to question if something's wrong, which breaks his focus. Simply enough, he has a bad feeling. A bad feeling that something terrible will soon happen on Earth. Right on cue, awakening from hypersleep. Raditz spots a particular planet from his pod. At last, they finally reached one. As the Saiyans approach what is presumed to be the Earth, how will their presence affect the inhabitants of the world below? Will they do their best to keep a low profile to evade the prying eyes of Kakarot's forces? Or will they merely do as they please, as they have so many times before? Surely, they can't pose any sort of threat to challenge Frieza. But with this reality of the story we know flipped upside down, what surprises are in store? At the bottom of a lake. Nearby, a slightly more roughened version of Mai than we're used to sits idly by, almost a mix of her original design and the variant we see in Super. Pilaf wonders what's taking so long. Where is Shu with that darn thing already? His underling reminds him to not let impatience take over. They are just one step away from glory. And this time, they will not waste their chance. The Emperor smiles at this. It's not that Mai is wrong, but he's just too excited. They've never gotten this far before. A Shu comes blasting out of the water, shouting that he's got it. He's retrieved the 2-star ball. Congratulating him on a job well done. He commands them to all get back to the ship as there's no time to waste. But before that, he has to pee. Having 6 of the 7 Dragon Balls right before their eyes. Fortune is on the side of the Pilaf gang. When Shu runs into a problem, it appears they made a mistake when writing the coordinates of the last Dragon Ball. Because the radar is indicating a different location. Snatching the paper out of his hand, his leader demands to know what he just said. Let him see that. Glancing over the page himself, it does seem to have moved a few kilometers away. Though he's sure it's just some villager must have encountered it by now. Either way, stealing it will be a piece of cake. And then, the whole world will bow before their new lord.
Frieza! You bastard! One day, I'll kill you. No! This is pointless. I'll never surpass his power. Never.
While training himself to exhaustion, Frieza tosses him a senzu. He tells him to eat it as it'll help him get his strength back. Frieza himself can get as many as he wants. But furious at the show of pity, the Namekian returns to his feet and growls that he doesn't want it, prompting the demon, or other demon, to cackle out what's wrong with him. He doesn't seem very happy to see him. How many years has it been anyway? 3? 4? Piccolo has actually become very strong. However, he's still as pathetic as always, no matter how far he's come. He bellows out he's in no need for Frieza's stupidity. He needs to get out of here before he kills him. But Piccolo kill him? That's ridiculous. Besides, he didn't come here with any intention of fighting. Believe it or not, he comes in peace. After all, unlike the fearsome Piccolo, he himself is a benevolent being. High in the air, Popo questions Kame what those two may be talking about. He doesn't say, but knows something isn't right. They are aware that they're being observed. Postulating, the genie believes that must mean, but the Guardian cuts him off to confirm his fears. They are, in fact, speaking through telepathy. What could they possibly be planning, and why would they try to hide it? Just the thought of it gives the God of Earth chills. Could this mean that Frieza's conspiring with the evil Piccolo to act on his urges in destroying the planet? Or does he have something else in mind? Trying to remain optimistic, Popo thinks maybe he's just being paranoid. Perhaps they're planning nothing sinister at all, and this is all part of Frieza's mind games with Kami's evil half. Though as the god of Earth, it is his duty to protect it. For someone with an obligation as important as this, there's no such thing as paranoia. He can trust him on this. If something bad is meant to happen, then there is no doubt it will happen. As 3 objects pass closely by the lookout. But what could they have possibly been? So much power is contained within those 3 vessels. A little confused, Maya understandably mistakes this for a meteor shower. She jokes that perhaps they should just make their wish now, like she'd be silly enough to believe in superstitions. But now that she does think about it, meeting a handsome gentleman this very night wouldn't be so bad. Although being as shy as she is at this point in the story, what could she be thinking? She pleads to the universe that she takes it back. Please don't fulfill that wish. Back with our warriors. Piccolo wonders what just happened. 3 strong energies have just appeared out of nowhere. Tilting his head backwards, Frieza chuckles that he won't be left wondering what they're in for, though he figures the 2 of them will be seeing each other again very soon. Taking off towards the energies, the Namekian is left a bit dumbfounded. Given this new turn of events, he decides that it might be best to utilize that beam after all. Chomping down on it, he snarls that Frieza fellow is even more despicable than he remembered. Not far away, 3 space pods land near a small cabin. The owners of which come running out, panicked on what those impacts could have been. Like Mai, they too at first believed them to be meteorites. But no. Nappa, Raditz, and Vegeta make their way out of the ships, having successfully gotten themselves away from Emperor Kakarot. Likely making a bad decision, one of the locals decides that these 3 look human enough. Maybe they need help, completely ignorant to the wickedness he's walking towards. Raditz notes that this must be planet Earth. He read about it in a report not too long ago. Nappa doesn't seem to care wherever they are. First things first, they need to search for some food. Also, they should probably refrain from using their scouters to avoid detection from Kakarot's men. Though Vegeta argues there's no need to hide their presence anymore. They've escaped the reaches of the Empire. They're free now. At Kame House. As Roshi sleeps the night away, the television broadcast returns to its regular programming after their ad break. The host reminds all the late-night viewers to have a wonderful evening and know that as soon as the clouds clear, they'll be able to admire a gorgeous full moon tonight. A full moon that quickly makes its appearance.
Hello?
The man calls out to him. While sizing him up, he cautiously asks if they're from the big city. Is this some kind of government experiment or something? If they need any help, there's a telephone back in the cabin, some food as well. But these Saiyans, being the way they are. Raditz scoffs that this is just a punk with a power of only 5 units. He'll take care of them. As his wife shouts for him to look out, it's too late for him to move. However, Frieza arrives right in time to intercept the blast. The man profusely thanks his savior. He just saved his life, didn't he? Who comments that seems so. As Piccolo, oddly polite, utters to the stranger that he dropped his turban. He needs to take it and get out of here right now. While he scurries away, the pair stare down the trio causing all this trouble. Sporting a cocky grin, Vegeta activates a scouter in interest. He wants to see what they have here. Clearly getting a reading he wasn't expecting. That face. He's seen it before. Several years ago, back at a base. Vegeta frantically whips his head around the launching bay as he desperately looks for a ship. He screams at himself to use his head. How is he going to escape from this planet? darting around the corner. It looks like there's one left. Bingo! He makes a mad dash towards the open pod. But inside, a very young Frieza. While may not exactly matching the canonical timeline and birth date lore, this is a story about Goku and Frieza changing places after all. Vegeta figures it seems like someone must have just left this baby all alone. The Saiyan himself may have some rotten luck, but the little mutants here is even worse. The planet's going to explode any minute now, and by no means will he be on it. He taunts for him not to take it personally, but he's going to be taking the ship. When? He's blown away and left heavily wounded. While we don't see how Vegeta inevitably escaped. Turns out his shock was from recognizing Frieza himself. He's pretty sure this guy and that baby are the same person. Either way, the scouter isn't registering anything on him. So could that mean his power is so high the device can't even recognize it? When Nappa abruptly shouts the same, his scouter isn't working. It won't read anybody's but that green guy's power. He's only about 800 units. Not much of a challenge, but he can't get anything on that little dwarf. Raditz and Vegeta both alert the same. The latter of which decides that in this case, they'll just have to find out the old-fashioned way. Before the battle can begin, Piccolo mentions that he has a bad feeling about this. They should move to a more deserted area. Frieza agrees. He doesn't like the way these men are greeting them.
Watch out, Frieza!
Perhaps not sensing the vast difference in power going on? The Frost Demon is able to send his aggressor skidding into a mountain with ease. He explains to Piccolo that this one is the strongest out of the three, and he'll handle him. Piccolo can take care of the others. Even against our better judgment, the Namekian knows what he has to do. Picking himself up, the invader is furious having been humiliated like this. Screeching after him, he seems to actually take a brief advantage. Though, it's only a ruse to get them away from Piccolo and the others. Watching them disappear into the distance. Nappa points out that Vegeta is even angrier than usual. Raditz wonders aloud if they should help him. When the Namekian suggests they come with him somewhere else, he bets they can fly just like their partner. Catching up with a couple of others who can fly. Popo appears before them with his magic carpet. Sensing what's happening with the Saiyans, Krillin asks what's going on. The genie explains that they're analyzing the situation. Him and Kami. Planet Earth is being invaded by aliens. But aliens? They've never seen anything like that. Popo continues. He believes it'd be best for everyone to go to the palace until everything's resolved. The three of them wouldn't stand any chance against these invaders. And three? Tossing himself into the scene, mercenary Tien. While he was initially only passing the gang, he stops when he notices those idiots. And why is Kami's assistant tagging along? Skipping formalities, it appears Tien is still a bad guy in this story. He comments that it looks like he wasn't the only one who sensed those powerful key signatures. Bowing, he proclaims that it is an honor meeting Mr. Popo here. He didn't think this situation would be so severe as to receive divine assistance. Smirking at this, said divine character remarks that is very kind of him to say. If he would, he should also get on the carpet. They're all heading to the palace. But is he serious? Even despite his previous actions and deeds, he is still worthy to set foot in Kami's palace? Causing Yamcha to snort that he was just thinking the same thing. And Krillin to hang his head at his friend's comments. Yet another foolish decision by the former bandit. Tien grows a sinister glare and chuckles. You see that now? Even the weakest of the Turtle School has the gall to oppose Kami's will. The weak? He better watch his words. But he isn't going to listen to a weakling. And if he's looking for a fight, Yamcha will give him a fight. Who can try if he wants? Tien will step on him like an ant. And so on. These two can't even look at each other without bursting into a shouting match. Taking a deep breath, Yamcha thinks he has just the thing to end this. He bellows that Tien doesn't have any friends! That's why Chaozu left him! Because he's wasting his life following the lessons of a miserable person who sold his morals and principles for a simple bag of money. Shocking more than just the Crane student. The aforementioned can't quite process what he just heard. How? How dare he speak to him like that? Firing at him the Dodonpa! Though at first looking like he was toast. Looks like everyone, including Popo and Krillin, left without him. But at least that stupid Ten Shinhan will think twice before making fun of him again. The weakest of the turtle school? No way! He's not letting anyone speak to him like that anymore. As of today, the great Yamcha will show the world he is no weakling. However, one has to ask if Popo chose to teleport Tien over Yamcha because he was simply closer, or was there another reason? Back with Frieza. Smoke takes over the battlefield as it looks like Vegeta's having the fight of his life. On the other hand, Frieza seems more relaxed than ready for a battle, though he compliments the invader, stating, "Not bad, what else do you have?" Not hesitating, the Saiyan shouts for him to take this! But wiping his face, Frieza chastises, "No, not like that!" He needs to learn how to control his ki. But first of all, he needs to never pick a fight with a stranger. That's just common sense now. As his foe falls to the ground, our hero worries that he did hit him really hard. He's probably hurt. Though Vegeta sneers for him to keep his advice to himself, he doesn't need it. Launching a massive attack that is felt nearly worldwide. Raditz taunts Piccolo and questions if he felt that. It looks like his friend ticked Vegeta off a little too much. And suddenly, the Green Man doesn't appear so confident anymore. Look at that worried face of his. You know, that's the most fun thing about killing, seeing the fear in one's eyes. Although Piccolo remains silent. Nappa growls out, "Oh, I'm starving! Why the hell are we following this guy instead of looking for food? I could eat him alive right now! We're here!" Descending upon some kind of natural structure, Raditz can't help but comment, "Yep, sure is empty here." Though the Namekian replies that it's actually a little too cozy for his own liking. But he does have his own private stream here. As he makes his way over to something, Nappa thinks he gets it. This place is like his home or something. Why'd he bring him here? He reveals he has something special for the both of them. Unveiling a jar in the dirt. But could it be for a particular technique? One that could give a weaker fighter an advantage against a foe even much stronger than himself. Either way, he goes on. To answer Nappa's other question, he wouldn't exactly call this home. Living here sometimes felt more like a prison. They will soon understand what he's talking about. Still toying with his adversary, Frieza has to admit that he may have underestimated the invader a little, and that could be very bad for the planet. So, before he's rocked by a sudden attack, Vegeta snarls for him not to let his guard down. In this story, could Vegeta actually stand a chance against Frieza? Does the Frost Demon have any idea he can take other, more powerful forms? And what about Piccolo? Will he trap Nappa and Raditz using the Mafuba, or is he only starting a battle that he is doomed to lose?